One transfer every club from the Big Six needs in January. I think this is going to be a massive January transfer window. The league is very compressed. The league between first to third to fourth to fifth is very, very compressed, very, very competitive. So I think all these Big Six sides can make massive incremental gains on their rivals if they make the right transfer. So let me know what you think in the comments down below, and whoever you support, let me know who you think should be, you should be signing in January. Let's start off with Arsenal. I think they're a very, very good side. Despite their keeper situation, from keeper through centre-back, through midfield, Declan Rice, Saliba, unbelievable. They have got a great foundation to be successful this season, even in Europe. I said it on the channel yesterday in terms of what they can do in the Champions League against Porto and go far in that competition. Saka as well. These guys are borderline world-class, but they are missing a world-class striker, and it does catch up with you. City had a couple of runs with Foden as a false nine, Ilkay Gundogan as a false nine, playing Jesus as a right winger because he wasn't cutting it as a striker. If Man City don't see Jesus as a striker and sell him to Arsenal near rivals, that is indicative of him not being the goal scorer that Man City needed to achieve the things that Man City wanted to achieve. So Arsenal have to look at the fact that he's got 3 goals in the Premier League. His contribution has been good this season after coming back from injury. He works so hard. I don't think anyone in the football world has ever criticised Gabby Jesus for work rate, for attitude, for application in football games. His link-up play is good as well. His dribbling's fantastic. But there's something missing in front of goal that always has been. He might end up with 15, 20 goals in all competitions for Arsenal this season, maybe. I think that's as far as you can take it. And I think he needs 25 in the Premier League alone to get Arsenal where they need to be. Declan Rice can't keep having 10 out of 10 performances and getting winning, some of them last minute winning goals, for example. Trossard has had a few of them. I think they need a striker desperately, more than people give them credit for. Far more. And Ivan Toney is that guy. He's got so many goals in the Premier League since he got promoted with Brentford. At the time, had the highest record of any Championship striker in terms of goals in a single season. So this guy bags goals, and he's also an Arsenal kind of striker. He's not just a lump who just sits in the box. Maybe like someone like Erling Haaland, for example. He's a silky player, links up play. He's got a bit of the Ian Wright about him. He's got a bit of the Thierry Henry swagger about him. Nicolas Anelka even. So Ivan Toney gets talked about a lot, and maybe it's clickbait, maybe it's not. I think he's needed far more than Arsenal fans are giving him credit. I don't think he goes to Chelsea. I don't think he's a Man United striker. I think he's guaranteed to be an Arsenal striker. He fits the bill. He's got swagger. He's got skills. And he could score 25, 30 goals in the league within a couple of seasons very, very easily. Imagine a front line of Saka, Martinelli, or even Saka, Jesus, and Ivan Toney. That's outrageous. Right, we're going to go from one London club to another. I think Chelsea need a big boy striker as well. I think all their problems would be vastly solved if they could sort out who's putting the ball in the back of the net. Sometimes it's Conor Gallagher. Sometimes it's Raheem Sterling with a few here and there. Sometimes it's Cole Palmer. And it all feels a little bit stretched. It always feels like they have to get the perfect opportunity to Nicholas Jackson for him to score, and even then he needs 2 or 3, and that is no situation to be in. Where would Pep Guardiola be in his first season of winning anything in the Premier League as a manager if it wasn't for Aguero scoring against Arsenal in the League Cup final, Aguero scoring 25 goals that season in the league? Again, Haaland last season, where would Pep Guardiola's treble be without Erling Haaland's goals? Where would Alex Ferguson's treble be without Andy Cole? Without Dwight York? They wouldn't be very far along. That's the reality. So all the great sides need great strikers. I've just talked about Ivan Toney. Victor Osimhen to Chelsea. I think it makes a lot of sense. Obviously, there were issues a few months ago with Napoli. Really grim issues for Victor Osimhen personally. And you'd feel that Napoli would sell if the right offer came in. Now, we're not talking about Arsenal trying to haggle and trying to be a little bit cheeky with some of their offers, for example, or Liverpool being a little bit not as expansive financially as Chelsea are. Chelsea are a bit ridiculous, and they put ridiculous money into players. Why not put ridiculous money in January into a striker and just solve their problems? Sometimes football's an easy sport. You need a big striker to put the ball in the back of the net. It's all well and good having Palmer and having Colwill and having these advanced systems. And what's Pochettino trying to do? He's trying to get goals in the back of the net. And Osimhen is that guy. He's a powerhouse. He's built for the Premier League. And I think he'd score 30 goals in the league. I really do if he joined Chelsea. And you go and get him now before Bayern Munich come calling maybe, or another club in Italy maybe come calling, or Real Madrid come calling. Get it done now, because you can definitely see him at Real Madrid in the summer, especially with Joselu struggling in front of goal for them lot. So I think Chelsea would be stupid. I think they take 130 now, 130, 140. These aren't silly figures. They are in the world of football, but they aren't for Chelsea Football Club, because they're ruining the transfer market year in, year out. Going to talk about Man City now. Man City need to control football matches. The reason that we're probably in some of the worst form in the last 6 years of Pep Guardiola being at the club is down to a porous midfield. If Rodri was ever injured or sent off, Gundogan would pick up the slack, could usually play defensive midfield as well, alongside Fernandinho, for example. Bernardo Silva would tuck in, and with De Bruyne, it was beautiful. Now we've got Kovacic, who can't start, can't be fit. Mateus Nunes, who's come from Wolves, with all due respect, I think he'll turn into a decent player. The reason we signed Nunes is because we thought he was a little bit like Paqueta. So why don't we go out and sign the real thing? Paqueta. It looks like his betting issues might be behind him, potentially. If he can play football, there's no issues. Sign him in January. I think with Kudus playing well, I think West Ham are in a stronger position. I think if West Ham were getting in a relegation fight or struggling massively, I think they'd want to keep hold of him even more. But they might be able to think we can get through games with Ward-Prowse, with Alvarez, Kudus. I think they're a good side. I don't know if they need Paqueta as much as they used to. They've already won that European trophy. They're doing well without Declan Rice. If Man City bid 90 million quid in January for Paqueta, which is not out of the world of possibility, I think he comes in. He can play. I think he can play deep in midfield. I think he can link up play very, very well. I think he could control games. He's strong as well. He's athletic. I think he's everything that Nunes was meant to be. And Nunes isn't trusted yet, and his transition at the club is very, very slow, and it could ruin our season because of the slow nature of his transition, and Kovacic as well. Get Paqueta. He's one of the best footballers in the league, and get it sorted now. Man United, I think this is relatively straightforward. Mark Gahey, Crystal Palace, having a great season alongside Anderson. Well, relatively speaking, I think he's always had a good career at Crystal Palace. He's of a good age category. I think he's one of those players looking for a big move. When Harry Maguire left Leicester City to join Man United, we do forget that a lot of people were thinking this was an amazing move. Probably myself included. England international, shores up the defence. Maybe it's like a Rio Ferdinand-esque transfer. Obviously, it didn't turn out that way, don't get me wrong, but people thought it was a decent move. And he had a lot of experience in the Premier League with Hull City and with Leicester City. And Mark Gahey's very, very similar as well. Come out a top academy in Chelsea as well. Mark Gahey, 40 million quid. He's part of your defence. He's mobile. He's dynamic. He's good on the ball. He's underrated as well. He's not a big name. He's not trying to be out there flashy like certain players are, for example. Replaces Varane if he goes in January. Replaces Johnny Evans. Replaces Harry Maguire. Good transfer. Mark Gahey all day long. If you watched this far, thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe. Would really appreciate it. We're going to move on to Liverpool. Now, I say in videos about Calvin Phillips joining Liverpool, I get slagged off by Liverpool fans. I'm not trying to wind anyone up. I do still think it'd be a good transfer, but we're not going to go there. Paulinho nearly went to Bayern Munich. Obviously signed a new contract, but contracts don't mean nothing in football. If the interest is there and Fulham are doing decent in the league, their form is definitely upturned in the last couple of weeks, they might think, look, if we get 50, 60, 70 million quid offer in, let's just get it done. Because then they can go again in summer and have more of a plan, as opposed to Paulinho, leaving at the back end of the summer when they had no plan to replace him, and it could have cost them their Premier League survival. Liverpool with Paulinho at the base of midfield, wow, that is a real force. With McAllister swapping with Curtis Jones, swapping with maybe you could even play Trent alongside Paulinho, and of course Dominic Szoboszlai as well. That becomes the final cog in the Liverpool midfield machine, in my opinion. So I think that'd be a beautiful little move. And I think Paulinho is the right attitude for Liverpool. I think he works hard. He's got that physicality. He's great on the ball as well. And Premier League experience is paramount. You don't want to be signing Arthur again. That's the reality. And finally, Spurs, they need centre-backs. Romero is a liability. Eric Dyer is not cut out to be a Spurs centre-back at that level. Same with Ben Davies, with all due respect. Van de Ven is absolutely amazing. He needs a long-term partner if it's not Romero. And I think Todibo from Nice, been highly linked to Man United. Obviously, been linked to moves away from the French league. Good player from all accounts. I don't watch Nice inside and out, of course, but he's one of those players you always hear about in the transfer rumour mill. And whatever happened, I would have said Mark Gahey, but I'm not going to double-cross myself. Whatever you say about Spurs, they need defensive cover. I think whatever they do going forward, the likes of Lo Celso look decent, filling in for James Maddison. Richarlison's picked up a few goals. I think they can haggle their way across a few goals, a few decent attacking players. Brennan Johnson, for example, as well. But defensively, they really do get caught out when Romero is not there. And when Van de Ven got injured, conceding a lot of goals. So someone like Todibo, decent signing, decent money as well for Daniel Levy. Makes a lot of sense in that regard. I think Spurs will be covered for the rest of the season. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. January transfer activity is very weird, but it can also give a lot of benefit to these clubs. And I think they'd be looking to really push on and try and get back into the Champions League for most of them. Maybe not Chelsea. See you soon.